Well, guys, fuck what I said, because clearly we're heading in a much different direction than I thought, and it only proves you can never predict what's going to happen to Game of Thrones, ever. Hey guys, Cameron for Game of Thrones, Season 6, Episode 6, Blood of My Blood, and of course we realized what that meant in this episode, and obviously was really looking forward to this episode. So far, ever since Episode 3, we have just been on a constant streak of so much eventful stuff happening in this episode, and while I don't think this episode was as big as the last two episodes we've had, it still was a great episode. I really did love this episode. Some really big things did happen, and like I said, a very unpredictable episode as well. My main complaint is a lot of this episode focuses on stuff that I didn't really care about, and I'll talk about what I meant by that, but let's just get in this episode. There was some really great stuff happening here, and we start off actually right where we left off, because obviously the thing we're most interested in is what's going on with Bran. Now that Hodor's gone, Bran's all on his own. You know, Hodor's always been his trusted companion. Bran's now out on his own. He's got to continue, this journey on his own, basically. We see Meera drags Bran through the snowy forest. Bran is still deep in his green seer trance, and he sees flashbacks to many moments on Game of Thrones so far, as well as some from before the series began, including the raid on the Tower of Joy, the moment Jaime Lannister slew the Mad King, and it's really cool. I love the way they did that, because it really does show, what's happening to Bran and everything. And Meera collapses to the ground, hunches over Bran. Bran sees the battle at Hardhome the moment the Night King touched him. He wakes and tells Meera that they found them, and Meera apologizes. They embrace as the Whites come for them, but the Whites attack a cloaked rider who slays them with a flaming flail and sickle. The rider tells Meera and Bran to come with him. He lifts Bran up with one hand. He places both Bran and Meera on his horse, and they ride away, and that was a fantastic way to start the episode, because it really does show Bran is now kind of invincible in many ways, and Bran seems like he is going to be the one to survive. Bran, I think Hodor dying really has shown Bran is safe, and really has spared Bran's life, and I really did like seeing that. I thought that was a really great way to start the episode. And like I said, really to show the direction that Bran is headed in, which I really do like, and I thought that was a really good way to start it. Here's where we get to my main stuff. Why are we still seeing Sam and Gilly? I don't understand it. There's really nothing here happening to me. At least, in my opinion, I don't really think much is happening in this storyline. I'm just not really into Sam and Gilly. And don't get me wrong, there was some okay stuff with Sam and Gilly in this episode, but there was way too much time, I think, spent on Sam and Gilly. And I really like Sam. I'm not gonna lie. I really do like Sam. I think he's a really great character overall. I think they did some really great stuff with him, but I just don't really see the point of continuing their storyline. I mean, Sam left with Gilly. He's happy. Well, clearly he's not, but I just don't understand why we're really continuing this. We see they're taken to Horn Hill. Sam says he never believed he'd come back after his father, Randall Tarly, sent him to the wall, let alone with a woman and child in Tau. And we know, of course, Gilly's pregnant, so that's why they're going. And we know, of course, Gilly, said that they couldn't afford, they couldn't stay where they were. Sam stresses that Gilly is to say little Sam is his child, so they'll take him and her in. Sam didn't tell his family that Gilly was a wildling because his father hates wildlings, and servants greet Sam and Gilly as they enter. Now, I will admit, that is very interesting. The fact that Gilly's a wildling, the fact that his father, despises them. Sam's mother, Melissa, and sister Tala, they hug Sam when he enters, and Sam introduces them to Gilly and little Sam. Randall's out on a hunt, so basically, they don't have to worry about it right now, because Randall's out on a hunt and everything, and we know that Randall obviously hates wildlings, but right now, everything can be fine, because Randall's out on a hunt, and I thought that was definitely good to see. I really did enjoy that. So Tommen lights a candle at the Great Sept. Tommen's afraid for Margaery, obviously because he knows that Margaery's still in prison, but the High Sparrow assures him that she'll be protected during her walk of atonement, and that he believes the common folk will be much kinder to her than they were to Cersei, because Margaery didn't do all the terrible things that Cersei did. Yes, Margaery has wronged them, but she didn't do all these horrible, horrible things that Cersei did, and they're not going to, they didn't take what Cersei did lightly. You don't take, killing all of these Starks and all of this event, you don't take that stuff lightly, and Cersei totally deserved that. Marjorie, on the other hand, she has done some things, but it hasn't been nearly as bad as what Cersei did. And the High Sparrow allows Tommen to visit Marjorie. She tells him that everything will be okay soon, and Marjorie and Tommen are both surprised to find that the other has been affected by the High Sparrow, and Marjorie says that the Sparrow has helped him see how vain her previous acts of charity were. Tommen asks about Loras because obviously he knows that she really wants to help Loras, and that she really doesn't want to destroy Loras. Marjorie says that she loves her brother, and that his soul is pure, but of course, back then, people really ridiculed Loras because he's gay, and that's illegal back then, and he needs to atone for his sins like everyone else does, and it really is bullshit that he has to do that, but that really is what it was back then, that he has committed a sin by falling in love with another man, and it's really sad to see. She says the gods have a plan for them, and you can tell she really doesn't want to have to do this, but she really can't say no, because like she's saying, they have a plan, that eventually this is going to go right. She's hoping this goes well for them. She's not sure. I think she's hopeful, but she's not really sure if this is actually going to go well, and I definitely did like seeing that. I've always liked Tommen and Marjorie, and I feel like these two have definitely gotten closer. Marjorie and Tommen, you could definitely tell that Tommen always loved Marjorie. Marjorie, I don't really know if she ever reciprocated the love, but I feel like now she is starting to really care about Tommen, and she really does want to be with him. Maybe not in a love sort of way, but they definitely do care about each other. I really do like seeing that, and, it works really well. I really do love seeing those two together. They work really well together, definitely. So after bathing, Sam meets Gilly. We get this very long scene. She's put on one of his sister's dresses. The link arms walk into the dining hall for dinner, and Randyll Tarly is there. Randyll has arrived, and he's observing his son and Gilly with hard eyes as Gilly struggles with her silverware, and obviously Gilly is kind of terrified because she knows that Randyll is completely against wildlings, and he could say anything at any minute. So Sam compliments the venison and his brother Dickon, who points out that it's a week old. His family is surprised to hear how poorly Sam eats of the wall, and are disappointed with how little Sam hunts for himself, because that's what they're supposed to do. They're even more surprised when Sam mentions that Gilly can hunt, which again is not something that they're used to, but Melissa assumes that it's a northern thing, and Randall's his point, and of course, his family doesn't know that she's a wildling, neither does, especially not as his father. So Randall's disappointed the Night's Watch hasn't managed to make a man out of Sam, that they're instead sending him to bury himself in books at the Citadel to become a maester, and Gilly points out that Sam is capable enough with a sword, having killed it then, and a White Walker north of the wall. This gets Randall wondering where Gilly is from, and obviously, because, she knows all this stuff, and she does reveal she's a wildling, and I like that Gilly wasn't upset about it. She's like, you know what, I'm a wildling, I'm not upset about that. And yeah, be true to your heritage. Don't be afraid of who you really are. And she's not afraid of where she's from. Respect your country and everything. Randall's upset to find himself hosting a wilding. He points to the sword above the fireplace. The blade is Valyrian steel called Heartsbane. It was supposed to be passed down to his firstborn, but Sam will never have it now because he's married a wilding. And Randall assumed that Gilly a whore, but wonders if being a wilding was an act of revenge for Sam. Melissa's angry and gets up from the table, takes Gilly away, and you can tell that Melissa, she doesn't necessarily, I think, despise Gilly. I do feel she does just want to keep things calm. Randall says Gilly can work in the kitchen, that little Sam will be raised at Horn Hill, but this is the last night that Sam will ever spend there, and later Sam apologizes to Gilly, says his goodbyes, and before he goes, Gilly reminds him that he's not who his father says he is, and, that he really is a good man. I like that Gilly is saying, look, you're a good man, don't listen to your father. It was a nice scene there. Like I said, initially I was like, why are we still getting Sam and Gilly? But I did like this overall. Basically after a few moments, Sam bursts back into Gilly's room, tells her that they're leaving. He says they all belong together, and he just can't be there anymore because things are not good there. They're, anyone that despises Gilly and anyone's going to treat Gilly that way, they have no reason to be there. So Sam returns to the dining hall, takes Heartsbane off the mantle. He says his father can just try to come for it because he's going to get his sword, and now we kind of know where this is going. I'm like, alright, now I know why we're following Sam and Gilly still, because now it seems like what's going to happen is he has Heartsbane, his father's going to come after him, and that's going to be very interesting to see where that goes, especially now that Jon Snow is alive. Is he possibly going to meet up with Jon Snow? Something's going to happen there. We know that he remained Jon Snow's most trusted confidant, and now that he left, the wall, is he possibly going to go back? I'm not really sure, but this is very interesting. I like where that's going, and I do like that Sam and Gilly, they're facing problems, because before I was like, oh, this is just going to be them playing house or whatever, and I just really wasn't into that, but here it's a lot more than that. We see he has, in fact, taken his father's sword, and I'm happy that this is actually going somewhere. So good stuff with Sam and Gilly this week. It started off me not really liking it, but then I really did like it. So Lady Crane's troop in Bravos is putting on another reenactment of the Purple Wedding, and of course, remember how great the Purple Wedding was. Of course, it was Joffrey's death. Most of the crowd is booing, but Arya is laughing, and it was interesting to see that contrast between what we saw last week with everyone laughing and Arya completely booing. But she's moved by Lady Crane's performance as a grieving Cersei, because she's really the only one who's selling it, and she knows the younger actress who paid for Crane's gift watching intently from the side of the stage, and she's basically reciting every single line that Lady Crane says. I guess she's like an understudy or whatever, but the crowd applauds as the performance jumps to Tywin Lannister's death at Tyrion's hand. Arya sneaks backstage. Arya pours poison into Lady Crane's rum, and obviously, she's there to kill Lady Crane. That's what she's there to do. So the actors go backstage after the performance. Lady Crane notices Arya as she is leaving, and Arya introduces herself as Mercy, which, of course, we know that Arya doesn't, does have mercy in her. That's the one thing. She's not a merciless killer. So I thought it was interesting she called herself Mercy. And remember, she's training to be no one. That's who she's trained to be. So Crane says she remembers seeing Arya in the crowd, asks if she paid. Crane recalls sneaking in to see the players when they came to her town when she was a girl, and then joined them the next day. Crane speaks poorly of the material, and Arya tells her to change it, that if she doesn't like what they're doing, change it. And honestly, yeah, I agree with Arya. I mean, their material is terrible. I'm not gonna lie. These plays are awful, but that's the point. They're not supposed to be good. And Crane has how Arya, I mean, these plays, they're not funny. They're mocking. They're, I think cheap vaudeville type performance, basically. I mean, this is the kind of street performance. These are like Civil War reenactments. These are really bad, guys. Like, they're not good at all. And Crane has how Arya tells us that the queen wouldn't be just sad about her son's death. She'd be angry and vengeful. And Arya says she has to, and yeah, I would agree with what Crane is saying, that she wouldn't have just been sad. And we know that that's exactly how Cersei acted. She wasn't just upset. She was vengeful. She was angry. She wanted to do something bad about it. Arya says she has to go and leaves, but returns to slap the rum out of Crane's hand before she can drink it, and tells her that the actress wants her dead. And that I thought was very interesting. So Arya's not going to kill Lady Crane because she sees that Lady Crane is not a bad person. She doesn't see the reason why she needs to kill her. So Arya retrieves Needle from the seaside where she hid it, and at the House of the Black and White, the waif informs Jaquin of Arya's failure. Jaquin tells the waif not to let Arya suffer, and Arya finds a place to hide in the dark, and Arya knows that obviously she failed. She knows she failed, but she couldn't do it. I mean, she called herself Mercy because she did beg for mercy, and I like the way that Arya did this because she didn't just go and kill Lady Crane because she didn't feel right doing that. She felt that Lady Crane, she needed to live, and yeah, I would agree that she did need to live. I'm glad that Arya didn't just kill her. Thought that was a really great scene, and I really do like that this is starting to go somewhere beyond just a training montage. You can really see that Arya has good in her, and while they want her to be this merciless killer, that's not at all who Arya is, and if she does want to go that way, I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see if she actually does become a merciless killer, but after this, I really can't see Arya going in that direction. Just from the way things are going, I can't see that happening, so we'll have to see what happens with that. Mace Tyrell, joined by Jaime Lannister, leads a Tyrell army into King's Landing. At the High Sparrow prepares Margaery for a walk, and remember that this is what Jaime wanted, that he wanted a Tyrell army and everything, and Marge's being prepared for a walk of atonement, and we see Lady Olenna Tyrell stands behind the army as they stand in front of the Sept. Jaime demands the High Sparrow hand over Loras and Margaery, but the High Sparrow says neither of them the authority to make that exchange. Then really they don't. I mean, what the High Sparrow says goes. I've said it before, and Jaime warns that every last sparrow will die before Margaery takes her walk. The High Sparrow announces that there will be no walk of atonement this day, and that's not actually happening. The Sparrow says Margaery has already atoned by bringing another into the full light of the Seven. Tommen and the Kingsguard walk out of the Great Sept. The High Sparrow announced the new age of harmony brought on by a holy alliance between the Crown and the Faith. The crowd applauds. Tommen proclaims the Crown, the Faith, the twin pillars that will restore the Seven Kingdoms to glory, and sit on the Iron Throne. We see Tommen strips Jaime of his rank as Lord Commander of the Kingsguard. Jaime tries to talk him out of it, but Tommen says he must answer to the gods. He really doesn't have a say here, and Tommen will not punish Jaime on sending him away from King's Landing. And again, it shows that Tommen's not a terrible person. We look at Joffrey in the play, and we see that Tommen just isn't at all like that. Tommen does in fact care about Jaime. He doesn't want to do something bad, but he basically has to answer to what the gods say. What the gods say goes, and he's sending him away from King's Landing. That's basically where Jaime's going. Now, where Jaime's going, I don't know, but clearly Jaime's been banished, and he can't come back. Now, where he's going, like I said, I don't know. We'll have to see what happens with that, but Now there's no Walk of Atonement. Marjorie seems free. This is interesting. I think it's interesting that the High Sparrow freed her. I guess the High Sparrow just figured, what it was the king, and he's not going to argue with Tommen the king. So that's very interesting. Definitely the way that went. It was kind of a cowardly move, honestly, but yeah, there is no Walk of Atonement. I'm glad we didn't have to see it because we already got that with Cersei, and I'm glad we didn't get that here. So Walder Frey is furious that his sons managed to lose Riverrun to the Blackfish. He orders them to take it back, but his sons say they don't have enough men to take on the Blackfish now that the Maleesters have joined him and the Brotherhood Without Banners is rallying the commanders. And Walder Frey tells him to remind him of the Red Wedding and bring Edmure Tully back to Riverrun because that's what they need. They need to make sure another Red Wedding does not happen. They need Edmure Tully, and that seems like exactly what's going to happen now. How they're going to get Edmure Tully. I don't know who Edmure Tully is. I'm sorry. I don't know who Edmure Tully is. I just don't. But it seems like they're going to get him back, and we'll have to see what happens with that. So Jaime tells Cersei that he's being sent to help Walder Frey, and there's a reason why we're seeing this scene, because we realize that Jaime is going to be the one to help send Walder Frey take back Riverrun, and Jaime has other plans. He wants to hire Bronn to gather mercenaries and kill the High Sparrow, that he feels the High Sparrow needs to be killed, and yeah, I would agree with him. I mean, we know the High Sparrow, he is the one that's in power right now, and they need to make sure that doesn't happen, because he is really the reason why the Lannisters are losing, but Cersei tells me that's a foolish plan. He needs to stand the head of the Lannister army to remind everyone to either be loyal or fear the Lannisters, and Cersei tells him not to worry about her trial since it will be a trial by combat, and of course, we've known before that doesn't exactly work. I mean, let's look at what happened with, let's look at what happened with Oberyn a couple seasons ago. He got his head smashed in like a tomato. So I don't really see that trial by combat going well. I don't know why Cersei's not worried about it, but they kiss. Cersei tells them they'll always be together. But again, I do like seeing Cersei not be a bitch. I do like seeing that. That is the one thing I do like, is that, the more we see Cersei, the more I'm liking her this season. But Jaime, I feel, is going to go to Walder Frey. We'll have to see what happens there. Is he going to go to Walder Frey, or is he going to kill the High Sparrow? I feel like Jaime still wants the High Sparrow killed, and I definitely could see the High Sparrow getting killed this season. I mean, he's done so many things that are just not okay that I feel like they do need to put him in check a little bit and maybe condemn him. I could really see them doing that. Killing him, I'm not sure, but condemning him, I definitely do see happen. So we'll have to see what happens with that. We see the mysterious Rhaegar prepares a meal for Meera and Bran. Meera asks why he helped them. He says the three-eyed raven sent for him. Meera says that the raven is dead, but the rider says he lives again. And Bran wakes, and the rider says the last time he saw Bran was when he was a boy. Bran asks who the rider is. The rider removes his hood to reveal none other than Benjen Stark. Yes, Benjen Stark is in fact the three-eyed raven, and that is awesome to see. I mean, we remember last season that Jon supposedly heard that Benjen is there, and Benjen Stark is alive, which, by the way, nothing with Sansa and Jon in this episode. That's one of the things that pissed me off, because that is the storyline by far that I'm most into, and we didn't get anything with them this week, but maybe it's because Sophie Turner's an X-Men. They're like, alright, you got your fair share of Sophie Turner this week, you get Sophie Turner next week, you don't get her this week, I don't know, I'm just trying to make sense of it. I think it's kind of dumb that we didn't see, Sansa and Jon in this episode, because I think their storyline's really interesting. We see, though, Benjen Stark, his face is cold and he's slightly decayed. He recalls being stabbed with a sword of ice to turn him into a walker, and the children found him and used dragon glass to stop the transformation from completely taking hold. Benjen tells Bran that he will be ready, waiting for the Night King when he makes his way to the world of men, and Benjen's alive. So Benjen's alive. What's going to happen here, I'm not really sure, but I think it's really interesting that Benjen's now alive, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where that storyline is going, because that was really unexpected. Now, there was a rumor that Benjen would return, but I didn't actually think it would happen. I thought, oh, it's just a rumor, not going to happen. But again, anything can happen now that there is no books to follow. So I really do like that. I'm glad that Benjen's alive, and how he's going to help Bran, we'll have to see. I think that, but I feel like in many ways, Bran's going to help him. So I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen with that. We see Dany and Daario ride in front of the Dothraki back towards Meereen, and they are in fact going back to Meereen. I said it before, Daenerys isn't going to Meereen, but she is in fact going to Meereen. They pause. Daenerys asks how many steps they will need to take her army to Westeros. Daario says at least 1,000, but wonders what Daenerys will do once she gets there. She says Daenerys is a conqueror, not made for sitting on the throne. Daenerys is alerted to someone, rides off alone. Some time passes. Daario says he's going after, but just then a dragon screeches. Drogon flies overhead head with Daenerys on his back. They land in front of the Dothraki. Daenerys announces that she is no Khal and she will not choose 3 Blood Riders because it's not the path she wants to take. She says they are all her Blood Riders, that she will ask more of them than any of her Khaleesi before to ride the Westeros as her army, and basically she is back to commanding. Now what happens to Tyrion? Is Tyrion going to get dethroned? I don't really know. I'd love to see him and Daenerys working together, but at this point I feel like Daenerys is in power with this kind of stuff. I mean, she clearly knows what she's doing. You know, she doesn't really want any help here, but I feel like Tyrion is doing a good job, and I don't want to see Tyrion lose position, because like I said, I think Tyrion, being the one to help out the dragons is a really good storyline, but now it seems like she's back in Mirian. What's going to happen there, we don't know, but that's how the episode ends, and overall, I thought this was a really good episode. It had a Sam and Gilly storyline I wasn't so happy about, but then it got really good. I really do like where that's headed. But let's talk about Daenerys now, because we know that Tyrion, obviously, he's become a big leader of Mirian. He's the one that's helped the slaves. What's Daenerys going to do about this? I really feel she is going to help Tyrion and really help him understand what he's doing, because Tyrion and Varys, they're doing a good job, but they're no Daenerys, definitely. I mean, Daenerys is the one that knows Mirian the best. She's the one that's going to help all the dragons, and I feel like those 3 together, they're going to be a powerhouse, totally, because Tyrion is the one that will make decisions. Daenerys is the one that will, commit all the actions, and Varys, I guess, will do something funny. I'm not really sure, but no Tyrion, no Varys, no Sansa, no Jon. That kind of pissed me off, but it was still a great episode nonetheless, and that's something I do like. Even though we're not seeing my favorite characters in this episode, this still was a great episode, and that's something that Game of Thrones does so well. Game of Thrones has over 30 characters, and they do a great job focusing on them when they need to. Let's talk about Benjen, because I think Bran really is going to end up helping out Benjen. Benjen, seems like he's in very poor condition, and that Bran clearly is going to help him, and basically it seems like Bran is being set up as the Night King, and basically that's exactly what's going to happen to him. He's going to end up being the Night King. I'm looking forward to seeing how that's going to go. I already really do like this storyline of basically Bran helping out Benjen. I'm looking forward to seeing how that's going to go. Really do like that overall, and I think that's overall really good. I really do like that. Jaime. Jaime clearly, he has his own agenda. I think while Cersei's telling him, you need to, stay with, you need to stay with the Lannisters and stay loyal to them, he wants to obviously kill, he wants to obviously kill the High Sparrow. So what is he really going to do here? Is he going to go with Walder Frey, or is he going to kill the High Sparrow? I'm not really sure. And is Walder Frey going to get Edmure Tully back to Riverrun? Well, let's see what happens with that. That's going to be very interesting as well, where Jaime's really headed with that. I'm looking forward to seeing. I think that's going to be really cool, and I do like that Jaime's kind of conflicted here, because on one hand, he really wants to kill the High Sparrow, but his sister and lover is telling him that, no, we need to take back, Riverrun and everything, and that's what he needs to do, and, that's what needs to happen. But then Cersei's telling him that he needs to stay, loyal to the Lannisters, and basically, stay the head of the Lannister army. But of course, he's been banished from King's Landing, so either path he takes really isn't Cersei's decision anymore. She really doesn't get to make these decisions, because he won't be seeing her. He's been banished. We don't know what's going to happen there. I'm sure Tommen is going to somehow find a way to get him back, but right now he's banished, and I don't really know what happens from there, so we'll have to see what happens there. I was surprised that Marjorie didn't take a walk of atonement, but she did not take a walk of atonement here. In fact, that she is with, of course, Tommen. Those two seem happy together, and it seems like those two are getting closer. I'm looking forward to seeing where that's going to go. Arya, I really am loving where Arya's arc is going. I think it's a lot better than I thought it was going to be, and definitely better than last season as well. Last season wasn't bad. It just felt like one long train montage, and this season actually feels like a conclusive arc. We can see that Arya, she doesn't want to kill. She doesn't just want to be this merciless killer like Jaqen and like the Waif want her to be, and I think they know that. I think Jaqen and the Waif know she is perfectly capable of killing, but she doesn't just want to kill someone that doesn't have a reason to be killed. Lady Crane has no reason to be killed. Lady Crane's just an actress that does not like the material that she's performing, and I totally understand the reason why they wanted her to kill Lady Crane. Lady Crane totally, she was performing as Cersei. Cersei is the woman that Arya hates. She wants to kill Cersei. That's how she kills her, is by killing Lady Crane. But Lady Crane is not a bad woman. Lady Crane is just someone that does not not like the material is being performed and wants to change it, and I feel like Arya's going to help her with that, but it really could affect her future with Jay Quinn and the Wave, because obviously they want her to train, they want to see that she's this merciless killer, but, she's calling herself Mercy, doing that, she's really not proving herself to them at all, and I don't really know what's going to happen with Arya. I'm hoping for her sake things go well, but I don't really know, honestly. I feel like Arya really, I don't think she's incapable of doing this, but just right now she has her own plans, definitely, and I do like seeing that. I do like seeing Arya does have her own agenda. I mean, I'm not surprised Arya has her own agenda because it's Arya we're talking about. Arya's never been someone that really follows rules that people give to her. She kind of just does her own thing, which I've always kind of liked with Arya, but here it seems like she really does have her own agenda. I'm looking forward to seeing where that's going to go. As far as Sam and Gilly, Randall, obviously, Randall did not give him that sword. Sam now took it from him. What happens with Sam and Gilly? I like that those two are staying together. I like that Gilly's telling Sam, you are not all the man your father says you are. But now I think Randall's going to go after them. He's obviously going to try to take that sword back. And you can tell that they're not looking at Sam the same way, which is sad to see. But again, Gilly is hated for being a wilding. They do not like wildings. They do not take lightly to them. They obviously want to get Gilly, and I don't know where this is going to go. I think this is very interesting. Maybe they're going to get Jon. Maybe Jon could get them on his side. I mean, we know that Jon obviously wanted to ally with the wildlings, and maybe that might be the thing to do, is to get Gilly on his side. And we know the reason why he wanted to ally with the wildlings, because Gilly was a wildling. Sam, trusted Gilly. Sam and Gilly were together. He felt they needed to be with the wildlings. I can totally understand that now. This is how he does that. This is how he gets the wildlings on his side. If Sam embraces that he's with a wildling and that he wants to ally with the wildlings, I think this could totally get and do that. I don't know. I feel like that is where we're headed, though, because we didn't see Jon and Sansa, but we are seeing Sam and Gilly, and of course, they are still a part of Jon's plot, even though, Jon sent Sam away just to, let him have a vacation, basically, and let him be with Gilly. I'm not really sure where that's going to go, though. I like where that's headed, and that's something I think that's going to be very interesting to see what happens with that. I love the beginning, like I said, that montage of Bran. I thought that was really cool. Definitely, they did a really great job with showing that. But again, guys, no Sansa, no Jon. There was some things that I definitely noticed that they weren't in this episode. But nevertheless, it was a great episode. I really did love this episode overall. I don't think it was, like I said, as big. I mean, besides the Benjen reveal and the fact that Daenerys is back, there were definitely some big things that happened here, but not as big as the last two episodes. I think the last two episodes were just more eventful. This episode was great, and it was amazing, and it was a fantastic episode. And again, really proves that this season is as eventful as it is and is as great as it is. But it was, again, kind of a more, not filler, that's not the word, but more of a plot-building episode, world-building episode, that kind of thing. Overall, guys, I'm going to guys saw this episode, love to your thoughts on it. Really, as you guys know, I'm loving this season. The season for me just keeps getting better and better, and I will see you guys in my next one, which will be for tonight's episode of Penny Dreadful, which I am so hyped for. I've been loving this season, and I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.